All right, people. To the reviewers, listeners, lovers, supporters out there, this is a special one. It's been a long time coming. I know y'all hear that music in the background and they're like, "Oh, I know we're going to talk about The Exorcist, but I didn't expect him to play the theme." Yeah, we're going to play the theme. You know why? Because this is long overdue, people. And we're going to let the theme rock out for a little bit because I don't want to make this a long drawn out introduction. I know my guest didn't want a long drawn out introduction, but I don't care. This is this is what we do, man. We appreciate our guests on here. We celebrate our guests, and the fact that this has been like I want to say like 2-3 years in the making, man. We've been planning this for a while. Um, this is I'm still trying to figure out how to do this introduction. I'm still trying to get the jitters out and work the bugs out, people, but nonetheless, we got a special guest on the show. And I've had a lot of guests on the show. Not a lot, but we've had our unofficial co-host on here, M. Wright, who is going to be joining us for a special episode in the future. We've had people like Carmela McNeil from Halloween Kills on here. We've had people like Did It the Guy. Shout out all my people that I've had on this show for the most part have been Philly bound. 215 stand up. But this is a little different. And I don't know what the fuck type of polyphonic remix this theme was, but I didn't expect that theme. That's not the original theme that we had planned to have on here, so I got to cut it short. But people, I say all that to say this. I got a special guest on here. You guys have been tuning into me for it'll be 5 years tomorrow. It's Thursday today, but it'll be 5 years tomorrow on the 4th, Friday. But while you guys think I know horror and I know movies, there's always a Obi-Wan Kenobi to a Luke Skywalker, if y'all dig what I'm saying out there. Like, y'all might look at me as a horror aficionado or just movie aficionado, as my guest had called me prior to us recording this episode. But this guy is it. This is the Jedi sensei that I get a lot of my movie savvy from, and I got to give him that credit. I feel like I don't want to blow smoke right now, and I don't want to put him on blast, but he already knows how we get down when it comes to this movie shit, especially this movie that we're going to be talking about today. And I did do this movie prior. I did a commentary for this movie if y'all want to check it out, but I feel like it just wasn't what it should have been because it's too loaded of a movie for me to talk about it by myself. And the fact that I got somebody on the show now that appreciates this movie, this might be one of the few people on the planet Earth that appreciates this movie the way that I do. So it was a no-brainer to get him on the show, people. But without further ado, Michael Parker, aka OG. We calling him OG, affectionately known as OG. That's what I want y'all to call him out here because he is the OG of this cinema shit. We finally got him on the show 3 years in the making. OG, I am glad to have you on the show, bruh. It's beyond belief right now because we've been planning it. So you can go ahead and say whatever you got to say. I've talked everybody's heads off for almost 4 minutes now. So you can go ahead and, introduce yourself, whatever the case may be.
Okay. I'm my first time doing anything like this, and I'm kind of nervous, but Rome is one of my kids. He's my son's friend. My son's friend, and we grew. I saw him as a kid.
He used to chaperone our school dances when we were kids. That's how far we go back.
I was a chaperone. Okay, so but beyond that, he's a man now, and but we always had one thing in common, and that was movies. And I was always the one to have the VHSs and the DVDs
Yep.
and things like that. And so I respect his movie prowess. He's good, but we talk about movies. We call each other like maybe a few days in between, just to say, did you see this or did you see that? And that's the way that we roll. So that's it. You know,
literally, people, like everything he said and then some. It is like true life story. Like I will call OG during the week, and we'll call each other. We don't even really want shit. We'll just be like, "Yo, man, just checking in. Yo, I'm currently watching such and such," or "Yo, did you see such and such? Because I just saw the trailer," or "Yo, I was just thinking about how this." It's all like connective tissue with cinema, man. Like when we talk, and this shit right now, when I tell y'all it's been a long time coming, it's been like 3 years in the making. I'm not joking, man. And I'm gonna put myself out there, OG. The last time we tried this shit, OG went out of his way, man. It was a rainy day. It was a nasty day. It was nasty weather. And he doesn't live necessarily close to me. So he just up and decided and was like, yo, man, like if you want to do this podcast shit, I'll do it. And I said, all right, bet. So swear to God, yo, people, true story. Like he came and got me in the pouring rain, and he drove me out to his crib. And the plan was we're going to do a commentary for Exorcist III. Now, for me, like I said, it was going to be revisited, but I felt like I didn't do the first commentary justice because it was just me talking about it, and I feel like I didn't even cover all the bases. So we got there, and like he said, I'm like his son's friend, like his son, one of his son's best friends. And I ended up seeing his son when I was over there. So we ended up killing like half a bottle of like Jack Daniels or some shit that he grabbed because we hadn't seen each other in a minute. And then by the time I got to OG for the commentary, I'm fucked up, people. Like y'all,
trash,
listen,
trash,
trash. People, y'all,
trash.
listen. When he say trash, he's not playing. Think about the craziest intoxic commentary I've ever given y'all when I've been drunk for a commentary, and double it, maybe triple it at that point, because I was going in. So by the time we got to the commentary, OG was really in professional mode. He's like, "Yo, man, we doing this podcast shit. All right, I'm sitting up, right? I'm talking into the microphone. I'm doing what I got to do, and I'm just laughing because I'm like, yo, like just have fun, man. Like I have fun with this shit." But him being a professional that he is, he wanted to just he wanted to lock in and discuss the Exorcist 3 the way that he wanted to, and I just kept laughing. And he's like, "You know what, man? Like just take your black ass to sleep on the couch, man. Like I'm gonna take your ass home in the morning. We ain't doing this shit tonight." Now I did, OG. I don't know if I told you this. I did listen to the audio the next day when you drove me home, and it was just
I didn't know that.
the audio, the audio from the night before was basically just me laughing. It was me laughing for the most part, and
Yeah,
I was.
what they don't know is that I was there frowning. I was not in a
Yeah,
good mood.
yeah, he was you were.
I went out my way to bring
Yeah, man.
this little nigga over my crib.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, I'm sorry about the N word.
Come on, man. Listen, my listeners know everything is in context. Everything is in context. They know. They know. They know what's up.
I was like, damn, man. Like, I went on my way. But here's the thing. So, one movie that we talk about or maybe refer to often as far as I don't know what, what genre that you prefer or whatever. I'm talking about a good movie that both of us agree on, and I mean, for both of us, it's The Exorcist III. Now,
Every day.
Everybody can have their opinion about things, or however they want to look at the way that they have their opinions or whatever. But I'm just saying, if we want to talk about this particular movie, then I am a fan of this movie, and I'm willing to sit here and talk about it and tell you why this is a good movie. Okay, so and I'm older. I'm 62 years old. So like I'm an old head.
He said, "I'm old head."
I'm old head.
Listen, but that's one of the reasons why I feel like, and I hope that my listeners, like, that's one of the reasons why I can, and I hope that my listeners can respect the movie savvy, because you've been around, like, I'm not even trying to say it like you've been around since the Stone Age, but you were able to see certain movies in the, like, outside of Exorcist 3, you were able to see certain movies in the theater and experience that theater experience. You were able to see, like, I don't remember if you said like Alien or Friday the 13th 3D. Certain things you were able to see.
I did. I saw them.
Yeah, you were able to see them happen. You were able to see. Okay, so wait. So I was right about Alien in the theater?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you were able to see Tom Skerritt, when the alien just puts his fucking hands out for a hug, that jump scare, you were able to experience that for the first time. I didn't.
I mean, technology is great now because you can see all those things in your home.
Yeah.
But when you go to the movies, you pay your money, you take your girlfriend, and you watch the movie and you take it back home, and it's just a memory. Now you're able to actually look at these movies and then make your opinion about them.
Yeah.
So at this moment, I mean, depending on what kind of technology you have, Paramount Plus or
Hulu
or wherever, if you can find the movie, check it out. And I just happen to be a fan. No, I don't like the word fan. Hold on. Fan actually means fanatic. Okay, so
listen, I'm a fanatic for horror. I'll say this shit loud and proud.
Well, I don't consider. Well, I guess I should, but I really don't consider Exorcist III, which is what we're talking about today. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't consider Exorcist III a horror movie.
No.
I consider it a work of art.
Whew.
And
Talk to him.
If you give it a chance, you kind of figure out what's going on. Now it does help to be familiar with the original Exorcist. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Listen, before we started this podcast, we were talking about movies that scare us.
Yep.
Right. And I said, well, yeah, The Exorcist is kind of tough. Slasher movies, Jason, Michael Myers, those characters. I mean, it's just like you just scared of how you going to die.
Because they can kill you with any implement around you.
Right. And stick it in your head. Okay. All right, but the movies that kind of get me, like I said, this is not for me.
Yeah. Listen, OG. This is.
Hold on, let me finish.
Go ahead. No, what I was about to say. This has become just as much as my platform as it is yours. So go ahead and let the people know the movies that scare you. Go ahead and fire off, man.
Movies like The Omen,
Mm-hmm.
The Omen. Omen. The first Omen, of course. The second one, the Omen 3.
Oh wait, you mean the first Omen movie from the 70s?
After a minute, they get tired.
But do you mean the first Omen movie? When you said the first Omen, you mean from the 70s, right?
First Omen movie.
Okay, because did you see the first Omen, the prequel to the original?
Yes, I did. I like that too.
Did you? Oh God, I'm sorry. That's just me, people. I'm sorry. Now,
hold on. Was that the one with Liv Schreiber?
No. That was the remake. That was the one that came out in 2006 with Lee Schreiber and Julia Stiles. Right. No, I'm talking about there was a prequel that came out. Charles Dance. You remember Charles Dance from like The Golden Child and Alien 3 and like Underworld and shit, or was he in Underworld? I don't remember. But Charles Dance was in the first Omen. Ralph Ineson was in there, and it was a prequel to the original Omen movie, and there's actually direct tie-ins to that first Omen movie that is your favorite horror movie of all time. But I thought you were talking about like the first Omen that just came out like last year or something, the prequel.
No, it was not.
Ooh,
No.
or okay, well I want you to watch that, and I need your thoughts on that because that movie broke me, man. That movie broke me, and I said I don't want to watch no more movies that's religiously driven. I can't fucking do it no more. The first Omen broke me, but the first
Right.
Omen movie.
And speaking of that,
Mm-hmm.
so there's been a lot of possession movies that have been out there. I mean, to the point where you have Exorcist the Believer. You have
God damn, man.
the exorcism of this person, the exorcism of that person.
The exorcism of this person.
Hold on.
Real shit though. That's real. Yo, that's real, man.
The Pope's exorcism. Yeah, like everybody being exercised. Okay.
And ain't nobody doing calisthenics. Ain't nobody doing calisthenics at all.
Everybody exercising, but ain't getting right. All right. So with that being said, with all that being said,
he said everybody being exercised.
Yeah, everybody exercised.
The only listen, it's so many.
Everybody getting exercise.
It's so many exorcism movies. The only people that haven't been in one are you and me. That's how fucking far they've gone with that subgenre, man. And that's why I understand 200% when you said the exorcism of this person and that person, because they had Emily Rose and they had all of this other shit. Like come on, man. Like I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the exorcism movies.
So.
Go ahead. I almost.
No, that's cool. All right. I'm gonna take a sip of my beer. Okay, hold on 1 second, man.
Go ahead, do you, man? I'll take a sip of my beer after you take your sip. But people, he's not wrong. He's saying everything that I say when y'all come for me in the comments. Not everybody, but sometimes people will come for me in the comments like, well, you need to just give these exorcism movies a chance and you just hate on them for no reason. No, it's the same shit over and over. And y'all see, this is why I have him on the show. Well, this is one of the many reasons I have him on the show is because great minds think alike, man. Even the OG, literally the OG, is tired of seeing the same old recycled exorcism films, man. It's one of the reasons why we're talking about the movie we're talking about today, but the fact that he mentioned those films and the genre, the subgenre in particular, it just goes to show that there are people in the world that are tired of this shit. It's the same rinse, recycle, repeat formula in these fucking exorcism movies. And like that's one of the reasons why I feel like if you're not going to get better than this movie that we're going to talk about, if you're not going to be equal to or better than, then don't even do it. This is the formula right here.
So understand, when the first Exorcist came out, that was 1972 if I'm not mistaken. And I was 10 years old. I was born in 62.
73.
73, okay, my mistake. All right.
That's cool. Players fuck up. Recipe shout out to William Friedkin.
William Friedkin. Okay, he was the one that wrote the book. Okay. William Peter Blatty is the one that directed the movie. And at the time when it came out, it was a major thing.
Yeah.
Like, it was a major thing, like, because people were shocked at you have a young girl playing this and cursing and doing vile things and everything.
They had never seen anything like that before.
They had never seen anything like that before, ever. Okay, in cinema, we had never seen. It was a landmark film. It sparked. Well, here we are today. They're still making the movie, so it is what it is. But
they still cashing in on The Exorcist, man. They got another one coming out. By the director of Dr. Sleep. Mike Flanagan is doing the next Exorcist movie. He sure is. I don't know if you knew that or not, but
Another
that's
one. Okay. Wow. What? Okay. Okay. Well. God bless him. I hope he has.
he said God bless him. No, man. You know why? Because if listen, I'm gonna say the same thing, and I like Mike Flanagan. I love OG. I don't know if you saw Hush. It's a home invasion movie about a deaf woman and a serial killer comes to like it's like a siege movie, home invasion type of siege film where she has to keep this guy out of her house, but she's deaf, so she has to use all the resources she
Yeah,
can.
I know another blind Marine.
No, no,
Trying to.
no. She's deaf, but it's
I'm just saying,
basically it's
there's a movie like
basically
that.
it,
There's a movie like that,
it's
man.
it's hear no evil for the next generation.
Yeah.
But listen, don't get me wrong. Hush is a brilliant movie, man. It was one of the best films to come out that entire year. It is a really good movie. If you haven't seen it, you know how you just put me on the Eyes of Laura Mars. You got to watch Hush. Like if we gonna give each other homework, we gonna give each other homework, man. You got to watch Hush. It's really well done, yo. I promise you. And
I saw Hush.
oh, did you?
I believe I did. I don't know.
He's like I watch a lot of movies, man. I don't know what the fuck this is. he's like, yo, Hush is the movie where the woman got to be quiet, right?
Yeah, right.
It's like no, but Mike Flanagan.
Hold on, Rome. Hold
Go
on.
ahead, go ahead.
All right, all right. So, being that we've seen, I brought that up because there's been a lot of exorcism movies out there.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Jerome. Oh, sorry. Me and Rome have shit. Me and Rome. I call him Rome because he was a kid around me, niggas.
I know, right?
Like this, my young boy, man. You know what I mean?
I told y'all, man. This dude, he used to.
I say what the fuck I say.
I told you, he's been around me since the beginning of time. Like,
yeah. So dig this, right? So because there's been a lot of exorcist movies or exorcism movies, I believe that me and Rome have. I know for a fact that me and Rome have agreed that Exorcist III,
absolutely,
the third movie, it takes place directly after the first movie. Exorcist II is ass. Okay,
straight up garbage. Y'all listen. If y'all ever worked in a restaurant, you know when you got to clean the grease trap. It's grease trap trash truck juice.
Yes, it's no. I mean, the first movie was successful.
Absolutely,
They felt they had to come back with something else, and it was not there.
Oh, I'm sorry, and also rest in peace. Shout out to James Earl Jones because he was in The Exorcist 2, The Heretic. And while we may talk shit about The Exorcist 2, The Heretic, maybe James Earl Jones didn't know better at the time. But rest in peace, shout out to him. You're still a part of a horror franchise, nonetheless. I don't know if he's ever done another horror franchise.
Actors have to they get roles. They play those roles. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe
he didn't know what he was in for.
Hold on. I didn't particularly like the fact that James Earl Jones was in what's that Schwarzenegger movie back in the day?
I don't know. You gonna say what's that Schwarzenegger movie back in the day? All of them, every single one of them.
He played.
What didn't he have? He was in there in the 80s, the 90s.
Hold on.
The 99 in the 2000s. He was in every. You gonna say
Conan?
Oh, he was in Conan.
Yeah.
Oh shit. James Earl Jones was in Conan.
Conan was at the time it looked good, but I didn't like James Earl Jones in that role.
Oh, he sure was Conan the Barbarian.
After the fact that since that time, James Earl Jones's roles have been.
Man.
Come on, all right. all the Patriot games, Clear and Present Danger. You know, I mean, he was in. I mean, come on, man. So.
I mean, when I was coming up, he definitely was the neighbor in the Sandlot. He was the neighbor in the Sandlot when I was coming up. That's for people that yeah, that's the blind guy. That's the people that grew up in my generation. Because OG, you talking about some Conan.
Those are the roles that we like him in. Okay, forget.
And also Fences. He was on Broadway. Fences. Amazing fucking job in Fences. Him and Courtney B. Vance.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he did. He played the Denzel role. He played the role of the father in Fences on Broadway.
Are you sure that your audience wants to hear all of this?
My audience wants to hear all of it because you would be surprised at the feedback I get from people who will appreciate the smallest tidbits that we don't think they give a fuck about. That's the shit that I live for, though. And that's why I want to get you on more episodes, because the more feedback we get, the more you're going to realize, oh, these people really do love movies. These people really do love TV shows. These people really do love...
I'm talking to people that love movies.
Yeah.
And you know,
man.
I'm giving y'all all I got.
Listen, he is.
I'm giving y'all all I got.
But keep going. You were going on about you were speaking, sir. You were speaking.
Okay. All right. So dig this right. So, as far as all the Exorcist movies, I know for a fact that both me and Rome agree on one thing. And I swear to God, he called me this morning.
Yep.
He called me and said, "What's up, man?"
True story.
What's up, OG? Like, you know, he checking on his old head.
True story. Tell him what happened. True fucking story, people. 200% true.
Listen, he said, I wanna do a podcast on Exorcist III. And I said, okay, man, listen, man, I'll come get you. But you gotta get a Uber home. You know, we're not close. You know, so not that close, but you know, yeah, we're not that close. So he said, okay, I'll call you back, right? And then he calls me back and said, well, we can do this over the phone, right? So
yep.
So right now we over the phone, right? And because we know, I mean, you know, Rome just told y'all that, you know, we made an effort. We've made an effort. We talk about it. We made an effort to podcast this particular movie. Okay.
Yeah, we've been trying, man. Yeah, we've been trying, and the fact that you just, when I called you this morning and was like, "Yo, man, what you got going on today?" You said you had exactly.
I just watched this movie.
Exactly. Morning. He said to me, people.
I mean, listen, hold on. Let me say this wrong.
It's how the stars align.
So did this right now. So, like, you know, I do my Mission Impossibles. I do my Star Treks. Okay, you know what I mean?
He's a big Trekkie fan, people out there, by the way. So, all the Tudor reviewers, listeners, lovers, supporters out there, if y'all are Star Trek fans, let me know let me know if y'all enjoy this episode enough. Send in the comments, send in the emails, send in the DMs. Do y'all want me and OG to tackle the Star Trek franchise? Because that's his shit. Let me know. But go on, dog.
I would love that. I don't know Discovery, right? I don't know that. Okay? But I do know, you know, the original. I know Generations. I know all the movies. Okay, so you got any problems? Like, you know, we got any rap about it? Like, we can talk. You know? All right. So anyway,
but he had just watched The Exorcist III this morning.
So, like I said, we're gonna try to do this, Rome. I don't know where your TV's linked at.
Well, the thing is, people, we both. Before, now, mind y'all, we pre-gamed. Like, stop playing like y'all don't know what the fuck we do on the Tudor Reviews podcast at this point. The only difference is I'm just a little nervous because the Miyagi Sensei is on the show at this point. The Miyagi Cinema Sensei is on the Tudor Reviews podcast the day before the fucking 5-year anniversary. But what we did was we chopped it up a little bit. we decided to crack our beers open at the same time or whatever. We chopped it up for a little bit. We pre-gamed. We talked about what we were going to discuss, and we also talked about a whole bunch of other shit in between. Man, y'all know when I do these commentaries or these episodes, I go all over the place with the topics, but I make it come full circle on the Two Reviews podcast. But we both decided to put on the Exorcist 3 in the background on mute, and to answer your question, OG, I'm at the part where I'm not sure what this priest's name is, but he's the priest with the platinum blonde hair, and his
and right now he's in his apartment.
yeah, his statue of Christ was just bleeding out the eye.
Yes.
Okay, so we on the same part. So people, you see how synchronized we are? Yo, like, listen, man, we professional. Now, I might not have been professional the last time when me and OG tried to get this episode off the ground, but I am making up for it right now. We are synchronized in our Exorcist 3 viewings behind the scenes. We are synchronized in our conversation. This is going well, people. And when I say this is long overdue, I tell y'all this is long overdue, man. Now, OG, on your screen, is Mrs. Clelia on screen yet?
That's the little old lady?
Yeah, she's such a sweet old lady in this movie, man. She's such a... Okay, so, OG, let me just say this.
Okay.
If we can get into the Exorcist 3 for a second, because we've been around the...
I'll tell you what. Do you think we might want to pause the movie?
No, keep it going.
Let it go. Okay.
No, keep it going. Keep it going, man. This is all. I like to capture the naturalness. Is that a word? If it isn't, it is now. I like to capture the naturalness of everything.
That's fine.
I feel like to talk about the Exorcist 3 at this point, because we've been talking about everything. We've been talking about the series, and we've been talking about the exorcism movies, and we've been around the world, and yeah. We did all of that. Now, The Exorcist 3, I feel like me and you can agree that this movie is, you said this isn't even a horror movie. You said that this is a work of art. And I agree. This movie is a masterpiece. There's a lot that I want to say, but I kind of want to save it for when we close out the episode and give the movie a proper rating or something like that. But I feel like this movie opened strong because a third movie in a franchise. Okay, we got a sidetrack. I keep talking about let's just talk about the Exorcist 3, but you got to talk about the fact that third movies in franchises don't necessarily do well. It's a big gap to fill. They're big shoes to fill. You look at the track record for third movies in horror franchises, for the most part. Like Friday the 13th Part 3, they got lucky. Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, they got lucky. But then you look at something like, I don't know, Scream 3. All of this shit came out after the Exorcist 3. But, well, not all of it, but some of it. But, like, Scream 3 got bad reception, but still made money. I'm trying to think of some. Halloween 3 didn't even have Michael Myers in it. Got bad reception.
Mission Impossible 3 was awesome.
That's another movie we agree on. That's another Part 3 that we agree 200% on. That was the game changer. But I'm gonna go ahead and let you break that down.
Yeah. So let me say.
Yep.
All right. So,
you know what to say?
If you look at a sequel, okay, sometimes they can be good, sometimes not. You had Godfather, you had Godfather Part 2. Godfather Part. They were both great movies. Godfather Part 2, I think, was better. I think Terminator 2 was better.
Oof, okay? Jesus, was it better?
Now, I will say this. Ignore Exorcist 2.
Just fuck that movie and just act like it doesn't exist.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna say that if you ignore Exorcist 2, then Exorcist 3 is it just like flowed perfectly into as a sequel to the first Exorcist.
It's the ultimate direct sequel.
It's like, it's like they did some other movie bullshit and then they did this one. Okay,
it's one of the first direct sequels
if you think about
in horror.
The characters, you had Father Dwyer, right? You had
Detective Kinderman.
George C. Scott
Yeah.
took over the role of Keenan.
What was his name? I don't remember his name, but yeah, he was definitely Bill Kinderman was definitely played by a different or not.
Right.
What was his name? Was his name Bill Kinderman? Let me look. I got IMDb
I don't
right here.
remember. Okay, but here's the
Yeah,
thing.
Bill Kinderman was definitely played by a different actor in The Exorcist 1. That's the only bit of continuity problem that I have with The Exorcist 3.
So, what time went on?
No, not even that.
Hold on. You figure the original Exorcist was in '73, and so when was Exorcist 3 made?
1990.
So we're talking what, 17 years?
Yeah, that's fine, but the only
hold on. So
go ahead, because I got a point to make. Go ahead though.
William Peter Blatty. William Peter Blatty. He made it work. Like, he made it work. And think about it. George C. Scott was playing the original investigator in the original Exorcist, and he ain't no joke. For somebody like him to take on this role, you had to appreciate. He had to appreciate what he was getting ready to do, and he stood up and did the role perfectly, and the guy that played the priest, Father Dwyer. Okay, he was, they both had alliance.
Ed Flanders was the guy's name who played Father Dwyer.
The Father Karras, okay? The Father Karras, okay? So that's what this is about. It was like, and that's why they were targeted. And one other thing, guys, like, I have the movie on my TV right now. One thing that you cannot forget is you have to appreciate the cinematography.
Yes.
You have to appreciate certain scenes, the way where the camera angle is, like where things are happening, like when Father Dwyer is killed in the hospital. Okay, and when the nurse was killed in the hospital.
Can we leave that for whew, that sequence with the nurse being killed? Okay, yes. That is, first of all right, real quick. Let me before we get to the nurse, let me just say, the original recipe. Shout out to the original actor, Lee J. Cobb. That played.
That was Lee J. Cobb. That was the original. Yeah.
He was the one that played Kinderman in the first movie. Now, that is my only problem with it. The Exorcist 3. The way that I love that movie is unmatched. But my only problem with the movie is the fact that him in the first movie, Kinderman and Damien Karras were not that fucking close. They weren't that cool, and they got a picture together in the beginning of the Exorcist 3. I was just confused about that. That's really one of my only minor complaints about the Exorcist 3 was that little bit of continuity, and I didn't understand that. Like the older I got, when I went back and watched the Exorcist, the original, and I went back and watched the Exorcist 3. But you mentioned something just now about how sequences are shot and things like that. Can we talk about that kill sequence with Nurse Keating? Can we talk about how that is the perfect and most effective and scariest jump scare of all time? Like that, at least for me. I think that
Okay, right.
that is the for me, OG, like I don't know
So,
about you, but for me that's the scariest and most
yes.
effective jump sequence of all time. Like fuck a Friday the 13th. Now I love Jason Voorhees, but fuck a Friday the 13th and all that other shit where they jump out and booga booga. Like no, that Exorcist 3 jump scare is where it's at.
So remind me what you just asked me, but I want to respond first.
Okay.
Okay, I want to respond first to the photograph. And I was watching the movie today.
Uh-huh.
I swear to God, folks. I swear to God, this morning. It's like I don't watch it constantly. I watch a lot of other movies. Okay, but I mean, like coincidence. It's just coincidence.
Yeah. No, that's fate, man.
No. I gotta say this. So now, I was watching it closely. Actually, after a minute, you start to pick apart things, and you start to say, okay, this movie was made 17 years after the original movie,
roughly.
And they were trying to pick up. I think a lot of fans or whoever it was decided like, yo, let's find out, because if anybody remembers the original Exorcist, okay, so the last scene, if anybody remembers, when Father Karras, all right, and when the two priests was in that bedroom with that girl,
Max von Sydow.
Rest
in peace. Shout out to Max von Sydow.
Another icon. Is he still alive?
No, Max von Sydow. I think he's gone. Wait, let me see. I really want to say Max von Sydow passed away.
He was old head.
Yeah, man. He was 108 when I was a fucking kid.
Yeah, that nigga was in his hundreds.
That nigga was like Steve Martin. You know how Steve Martin and Leslie Nielsen was just old from birth? Like, no, people, y'all know. Everything's in context. Rest in peace, shout out to Max von Sydow. He passed away in 2020, OG.
Oh, man.
And he was the villain.
Last thing I saw him in was
Rush Hour 3?
Rush Hour 3, yeah.
Yeah, man. And he was the villain in that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, bless his heart, man. He's another one. Right. You know how we talked about James Earl Jones having a really great career. Max von Sydow is another person that had an amazing fucking run, man.
Absolutely, man.
His run was unmatched. He's up there with like the Christopher Lees and the Peter Cushings and those types of actors, man. He's up there with those the Donald Pleasances.
Chris Christopherson died.
Yeah, man. When I saw that, I was like, Whistler for Blade. I said, oh no. Oh my God, man. Yo, the crazy thing is, man.
I didn't know about his country music career, but I knew about Blade.
The crazy thing is, man, Chris Christopherson was in. Before he died, I promise you, man, I was watching Big Top Pee-wee because I said I want to watch a Pee Wee Herman movie, but I know I'm gonna love Pee-wee's Big Adventure. It's going to be one of my favorite movies of all time, but let me try to really appreciate Big Top Pee-wee, and Chris Christopherson was the leader of the circus gang in that movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was in that movie, man. He was in there.
So what was I saying? Hold on. So what was I saying?
You were talking about, shit. Do we remember? Yeah. Did we get sidetracked?
Yes, we did. I knew this shit was going to happen. I'm on my second beer.
Listen, and we are on our second also, people. Is your movie still running, OG?
It is.
Oh no, we were talking about the execution of the jump scare. I think we were talking about.
Oh yeah. So
okay, the
things that scare me.
I thought we lost him for a second.
Listen, we can watch Jason, like I said, Michael Myers all day long.
Right.
Okay. And Freddy. Right.
Yeah.
We can watch this shit all day long.
Uh-huh.
In Exorcist 3, You did not have to. There was no blood. There was no blood until
There
the
were
very end.
there's literally one scene of slight gore, and there's blood implements. There's blood splatters. There's blood written on the walls. There's blood poured in cups and shit like that. But this movie survives on implication. And that's one of the biggest things that makes this movie stand the test of time, is that it doesn't have to be, a lot of people, there's a common misconception with a lot of horror movies, man. There's the people that are like, oh, I don't want to watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre because I know the movie's violent as fuck. And it's like, nah, like there's really no real violence in the movie that's shown on screen, for real, for real. There's really no gore.
Well, until the very end. But did this. But like, again, audience, the cinematography, which is what really impresses me about the movie. There's images, there's dream sequences.
Yeah.
There's different things that may look a little weird, but we keep talking about this nurse scene, okay? And if nobody's seen the movie before,
damn, man.
The camera was set. Hold on. Yeah, I'm sorry. The camera was set off. It was set down the hallway. It was not close up.
Nope.
Okay.
Not until the last minute.
It zoomed in at the last minute, but you still didn't see any violence.
It was the build-up.
It was just the build-up to the scene.
The build-up was absolutely flawless.
Flawless. It was flawless. If you appreciate directing, me and Rome, we often talk about directors. Mm-hmm. Like we talk about directors. Like we talk about that type of stuff.
Yep.
Brian De Palma, Martin Scorsese.
Yep.
We're just all over the place with it, and so we say, okay, this person directed this movie a certain way. As a matter of fact, like as an old head, I'll go to see a movie because of who directed it.
Yep.
Not necessarily who's in the movie, and okay, like say you got who the Scott brothers. You got Tony and
Ridley.
Ridley.
Rest in peace. Shout out to Tony Scott.
Yes. Tony gone.
But that just goes to show people we appreciate the nuances in the way that these directors direct. Like OG just mentioned De Palma. Brian De Palma does this thing. Like we love directors that got that thing. Now, granted, there's some directors that don't, that are maybe still finding their thing, or maybe they want every film to feel different. But we can appreciate directors that have that thing. And I know, OG, you are a big fan of Brian De Palma, where Brian De Palma's got that thing that he does in his movies where multiple things are happening at once. And he's going to show you in slow motion, and you as an audience member, oh my God, you are going to have an anxiety attack.
I'll give you guys just an example. Okay. Let's talk about The Untouchables. If you've seen The Untouchables, okay, so we had
I was about to say, don't spoil it. I've never seen it. Don't spoil it.
Well, maybe listeners have.
So, no, but listen, don't spoil it for me. The listeners know it's going to come when it comes. Talk about like The Untouchables or Carrie or Raising Cain.
Raising Cain. All right. Okay.
Raising Cain, wasn't there a stroller that was going down the staircase?
A baby being dropped or something.
Yeah, and you got all of these things happening at once, and you're just like, wait, what the fuck is going on? Like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know which side of everything I'm supposed to be on.
Yeah, Carrie, exactly. Okay. Oh my God, man. Oh man, he got. Oh my God, Brian De Palma. Oh man, he got a lot of stuff out there.
He said he got a lot of stuff
Listen,
out there.
body double. Um, my gosh.
Let me look it up.
You look at body double, man.
No, well, I'm just looking up Brian De Palma in general. Brian De Palma had this movie that you told me to watch back when y'all were living on Dorset. Was it The Fury?
The Fury.
I knew it was one movie that you had me watching. Listen.
Then hold on. That's when Kirk Douglas was an old head.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, people, listen, me and OG used to live, we literally used to live around the corner from each other. So the movie shit was unmatched around that time. I mean, it still is unmatched, but he would call me over, or I would just be over there to, like, because like I said, I was best friends with his sons. So I would go over there just in general, just to chill and hang out, but I would end up in the clutches of this fucking movie buff. But I say in the clutches because sometimes, like, OG, I say in the clutches because there was that one time where it was literally like 2 a.m. and I was going to go home, but I knew I was too drunk to walk home, even though it was around the corner. And you was like, yo, man, just chill here. And you had me watch Westworld, the original movie. And it wasn't until I watched that movie, OG taught me and told me and put me on to the fact that this was really
Terminator.
This was the original Terminator movie. This was the original, and I was like, yo, what the fuck? I said, yo, he might be onto something, man. Like, we used to sit and watch all these crazy movies together, man. He used to put me on so many movies. All right, so we got Carrie in 76, The Fury in 78, Dress to Kill in 80. Oh, Brian De Palma also did Scarface, Body Double.
Scarface. He did Carlito's Way. Like, I mean.
Oh, he did the first Mission Impossible? He did the first Mission Impossible. Why? How did he do the first Mission Impossible?
Mission Impossible, yes.
I never knew that. Never knew that.
Yeah.
Never knew that, yo.
J.J. Abrams picked him up after John Woo. John Woo did the second.
Oh my God, yo, they've had legends to start off with. That's one of the reasons why Tom Cruise is able to hang off of. Remember, I told you he was hanging off of fucking planes with no suspension because he's like Brian. Oh, he did Mission to Mars. I've never seen Mission to Mars.
Oh, that was the Pam Grier was in that motherfucker.
Oh, was she?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that was around the same time she did Ghost of Mars. That was in 2000 when this movie came out.
I'm sorry. Ghost of Mars, Mission Mars. So, no, you're right.
I thought. Come on, OG. Come on, man.
I messed up.
Well, listen, people. Ghost of Mars commentary. I already did that. Y'all can check that out if y'all want. OG, if you want to do a revisited Ghost of Mars commentary, we can do that too. Because I love that fucking movie. That's one of John Carpenter's most underrated movies that nobody gives credit for. But we're not going to talk about that.
And don't forget, John Carpenter also did, Escape from New York, which Pam Grier was in, and Pam Grier, I believe, was in Ghost of Mars.
Yeah. Okay. So that was not John. Wait, she was in Escape from New York.
Yes.
Oh my God. We make it come full circle on the Tudor Reviews podcast, people. We make it come full circle.
Verify that before,
before I start talking shit.
Yeah.
Now, what you say? Escape from New York? Escape from New York. God damn it, Donald Pleasance, rest in peace. Joe Unger, Tom Atkins, Adrian Barbeau, Charles Cyphers, Jesus Christ. I've never seen Escape from New York. I need to watch it. I've never seen it. Never seen it. You said Pam Grier.
You don't see her name?
I see Carmen Phillippe.
You don't see Pam Grier?
I see Carmen Phillippe. He was in Halloween 4.
No.
Which was directed by Dwight Little, but Halloween 4 was a sequel to Halloween, which John Carpenter directed, and John Carpenter directed what? Ghost of Mars, and Pam Grier was in Ghost of Mars. People, I make it come full circle on the Tudor Reviews podcast, people. Listen, I have these full circle moments. No, I don't see Pam Grier. Gee, what the fuck?
Try Escape from what's the other movie they did?
Escape from LA.
Yes, try that.
Now, honestly,
I'm sure that Pam Grier was in Escape from New York.
They said that Ghost of Mars was unofficially supposed to be a sequel to Escape from LA. That's what they said back in the day. All right, let's see. Foxy Brown, Friday Foster, Stand Alone, Above the Law, Class. Oh, Pam Grier was in Class of 1999. She was in Posse. I remember Posse.
But you don't see Pam Grier in any of those movies.
I'm trying, bruh.
You don't see Pam Grier.
I'm trying, man.
Don't worry about it, man. Don't worry.
No, it's all good. We can move on. Shout out to Pam Grier. Pam Grier, we love you nonetheless, baby. Shout out to Pam Grier.
And Jackie Brown, baby. That's right.
Yeah, Jackie Brown was a good one, man. I remember, listen, Drake let me borrow his DVD for Jackie Brown a couple years back, and I did a commentary for it. Now, I had already seen it, but I remember watching it for a second time and kind of finding an appreciation for it as kind of like a modern day blaxploitation movie with just a lot of white cast members, and it was pretty good. Like, I remember Jackie Brown being pretty good. I like Jackie Brown. It was pretty good.
So far, Quentin Tarantino hasn't done anything wrong.
Well, all right. If we're going to talk about Quentin Tarantino, like, my only problem.
Are you okay with the way this is going? That should we stay on point?
Yeah, no. Listen. We're good, man. Listen, we're good. People, if you have been listen, people, y'all know what I always say on these episodes. If y'all have been tuning in with us for this long, we appreciate y'all, man. And the fact that I got a guest along with me who has been keeping up and giving his chime-ins properly, we love y'all for that, and we appreciate y'all for that. Keep tuning in, listeners, lovers, supporters. But as far as Quentin Tarantino, he is one of my directing idols, more so one of my idols as far as writing goes. But Quentin Tarantino will put things in his movie racially that don't belong. They don't have it.
So hold on. So let's talk about that.
Randomly, that have no place being there.
All right, so let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
So, if any of your listeners are black,
a lot of them are.
Sure.
A lot of them are black. A lot of them are white. A lot of them are. They come from different. They come from so many different walks of life, man.
The way that white America talked about us or has treated us over time is horrible. But it's unrecorded.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that it's the way that Tarantino portrays things is realistic. Now, we don't like to see movies about slavery. We don't like to see movies about racial injustice. We don't like to see that shit. I'm a black man. I'm 62 years old. So dig this. Right. So I don't like certain shit, but I will watch movies like Mississippi Burning and A Time to Kill, because
he said yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell. Yo, I have not watched. Yo, I'm scared. I'm scared to go back and watch A Time to Kill. I'm a father now, man. I'm scared to go back and watch that shit. To be honest,
our people lived through that. Okay?
Yeah, true.
People in the South lived through that.
That's true.
And why shouldn't a story be told?
Yeah.
Hold on, and then when you see Django Unchained, okay, when you see Django, right? Jamie Foxx played a slave, and who was it?
Leonardo DiCaprio played the slave master.
Leonardo DiCaprio did
Samuel
not
Jackson.
Hold on. Let's talk about them two characters alone. Talk about them two characters alone. Leonardo DiCaprio was really on the fence about playing this part.
He was very uncomfortable, and you know what? I love Leonardo DiCaprio. I love that guy, man. He's one of the greatest character actors of all time, right? So we both can agree on that. No, but go ahead and finish your sentence though.
Scorsese uses him often. Okay.
Yeah, he sure does, man. He sure does.
All right. So I think about it. How many movies has okay?
The crazy thing is when Scorsese was going to direct the Joker movie, Leonardo DiCaprio was going to be the Joker. And I was like, I don't know how this is going to go, but it's Scorsese and Leo, you can't miss.
You can't
miss. And I was with it, but then when they was like, yeah, Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix, I'm like, nah.
It was okay.
No.
Okay.
It was over.
But you know what? No, but you know what? I was bored.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say it's because of how they played the role or how the script was written. I don't know why.
I will tell you this: with that Joker movie that they came out with, and we can say this, people, this is actually relevant because Joker Folie à Deux is coming out tomorrow, people. So me and OG talking about this is very relevant. But the fact that we are talking about this, I'll say, in my opinion, the first Joker movie, I didn't like it. I wasn't a fan of it when it was coming out, but watching it the first time, that was one of like the second episodes I ever did. And I was like, it's cool, but nah, this ain't it. But the second time, when I gave it a second chance, I said, this is a really good script, and Todd Phillips is doing a really good job directing his actors. The performances are really great. But this
you're talking about the one with Robert De Niro, right?
Yeah, but it just isn't, like, I can give it all the credit, but it's just not a Joker movie. It's still a 7 out of 10. It's still a 7 out of 10 because it's not a fucking Joker movie. This is an experimental art house film that DC wanted to do just to get out there and just see what praise they can get. And now they're trying to give it Oscar bait by making it a musical. Suck it, like yo, I'm not even gonna say that, people out there. Y'all already know how I feel about the Joker sequel, but the fact that y'all want to make it a musical, y'all are screaming desperation for an Oscar. Y'all don't need an Oscar that fucking bad for the Joker movie. Cut it the fuck out, man. DC has never won a Oscar for anything, and if they do win an Oscar for something, it doesn't need to be a Joker movie. Sit the fuck down and relax. That's it.
Did Marvel ever win anything?
Marvel maybe won something for visual effects. I know DC won an Oscar for practical effects with the Suicide Squad. And they won something for effects, and the Suicide Squad had really great effects. So I was like, okay, I can understand that, even though the movie was ass, and it underperformed at the box office.
Wait.
What?
What's special effects?
You remember the original, not the Suicide Squad with Idris Elba, but the Suicide Squad with Will Smith and Margot Robbie? Yeah. Do you remember Killer Croc?
Yeah.
Do you know who that actor is? Exactly. Yeah. So they won best practical effects or Oscar makeup, whatever the fuck they won, because you couldn't recognize that actor under the makeup. They won something for prosthetic effects.
Who was it?
It was the guy who was in you know The Mummy Returns?
Yes.
He was the black guy that was going head to head with Oded Fair.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, he was in the not The Wire, but he was in Oz. I think he was the gay guy in Oz. He was in The Mummy. He was in Get Rich or Die Trying with 50 Cent. He was a Majestic in Get Rich or Die Trying with 50 Cent. But you can't see him. You know how you talk about, you know how we were just OG. And
We just talking about
listeners, people, we were just talking about this shit. OG, go ahead, tell them.
The penguin.
We were
right?
just, the Penguin sprung us into a conversation about actors that jumped into makeup that you could not recognize. And OG, who did we say? Heath Ledger was one of them. Colin
hold on, this thing.
Colin Farrell, the Penguin, was one of them.
I'm saying this is about the Joker and Christopher Nolan's presentation.
Yep.
Right. So, I mean, it's a shame. God rest his soul. Heath Ledger. I mean, the way they left it.
Yeah.
That Joker was still around. He was still alive.
Still alive. And they had plans. Not to cut you off, I'm gonna let you finish, but they definitely had plans to bring Joker back in The Dark Knight Rises. They had scripted plans and they had to rewrite it and fit it in elsewhere. But no, go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah, well, okay. So where he's going to be with Bane?
There was just plans to bring him back. Do you remember the scene where remember the scene in The Dark Knight Rises where Scarecrow was holding trial and he was like, "Death by exile."
Yes.
It's like,
that would have been Joker.
Joker would he wasn't supposed to be there, but he wasn't supposed to be doing the trial, but Joker was supposed to be present. Oh yeah. Joker was supposed to be there. That's why they kept him around. They kept him around for a reason, because they made it their business to say, "Oh, well, when Joker died, Batman shot the batarang string around his leg and he fell off the building." But they purposely did it in The Dark Knight to where Batman shot the batarang string around Joker's leg. He fell off the building, but Batman caught him and pulled him back up. They saved him for a reason. They were going to bring him back in the third movie.
I know.
And it's a shame that they did. Listen, all right. So how would you have felt? Would you have been okay if they did like a Heath Ledger lookalike in the makeup and put him in The Dark Knight Rises?
That's like doing the fucking Crow. Okay?
Listen, but they did the Crow.
Hold on, let me say this. So Brandon Lee. I mean, if you're a fan of certain things, like Brandon, listen, the Crow, the original Crow, it's a cult film. It stands by itself.
Absolutely.
Either you get it or you don't. And nobody, could have done it any better. And then, I mean, of course, he had his father's legacy, Bruce Lee and then Brandon Lee, it was a hurt piece. Like, they both died way before their time, and so, who wants to see after you don't notice, after Bruce Lee died, back in 74, I think it was, 74, 73, something like that. After he died, all these movies started popping out. Some nigga named Bruce Lee. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Martial arts. All martial arts,
Motherfucker said Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee. His name was spelled Bruce L.I. instead of Bruce L.E.E. Right? I mean, there was all these movies that were coming out about martial arts movies and shit. Similar names to the movies, like something this dragon and this something this dragon and all this shit. And that's when I stopped going to fucking martial arts movies, like, because they were exploiting his name, Bruce Lee's name, So, but that's life, man. That's life. That's how they want to, capitalization. That's how they want to capitalize on certain things. But throughout time, you just kind of see that shit, man. You just kind of see it. But I am right now. I'm into cinema. I always have been. And I love my actors. Sorry about Bruce Willis. Someone like that, the career that he's had, the movies that he's made, and now he's got Alzheimer's. You never fucking know when, your shit gonna end. We used to wait for movies to come out by certain actors. It was always like, certain, summer blockbusters and shit like that.
Yeah, exactly. That was the era, like the 90s era I grew up in. That's why I said, man, we had a lot of great blockbuster box office movies, man. And it was just nonstop at the time, yo. It didn't even have to be horror movies back in the day. Like, we got a lot of great horror movies back in the 90s. I still, like, to this day, I still say the 90s is the best era for horror movies for me personally.
I agree.
Yeah, for me personally, I still say the 90s is the best era for horror movies, but everything else, it seems like it still falls into place. Action movies were the shit. Like I said, thrillers were the shit. Erotic thrillers were the shit. Psychological thrillers, disaster movies. You got a little bit of everything box office blockbuster wise in the 90s, man. Whether the movies flopped or not, you still had those numbers, man. And
so listen.
What's up?
Is there anything more you want to say about The Exorcist 3?
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, we can wrap it up. I know we've been talking for like an hour and some change.
they might have got bored with it.
But this is OG. What I say? I said, listen, man, hey people. OG, did I or did I not? Because people, I said, OG, we can talk about something else, or we can talk about The Exorcist 3. And he was like, no, we can talk about The Exorcist 3. And I said, yeah, because, we be going all over the place with our topics. But you know what? The cool thing about that is my listeners already know we're going to go all over the place. It's just all a matter of what I'm going to call this episode. Like, I don't know whether to call it Talking Exorcist 3 and other shit with OG, like, or I don't know what to call it.
Yeah,
but
call it that.
But as far as Exorcist 3, like, no, to be on some serious shit and answer your question, like, I think The Exorcist 3, this is one of those moments, man, and it's gonna be a lot of people out there that disagree with me, but I think The Exorcist 3 is one of those moments where we can finally agree to disagree that this is better than the first movie. This is the best movie in the franchise. This is the movie that gives you everything that you want, all while making you deal with word of mouth, implication, dialogue, monologues. This script is one of the best scripts ever written. This direction is masterful. The performances are amazing. There isn't a bad performance in this fucking movie, especially William Peter Blatty leading the pack. For this guy to lead the pack in Donald Pleasance fashion. He leads the pack in Donald Pleasance, Dr. Loomis fashion. Let me solve the crime and stop the evil. But then you come across somebody like Brad Dourif, and not to take away from Jason Miller, who plays Father Karras, but Brad Dourif should have gotten an Oscar nomination for this role. But then you got Vivica Lindfors in here, and you've got so many different Nicole Williamson in here, Scott Wilson, rest in peace, shout out. Nancy Fish is in here. Like, there's so many, Grand L. Bush, there's so many different actors and actresses in this movie that keep this shit afloat. That so much so to the point where you never get fucking bored. You never get bored with this movie, man. And this is one of those movies that I feel like will forever be a staple in cinema, no matter how you decide to look at it. And it's one of the reasons why you can do The Exorcist Believer, and you can do The Exorcist Achiever and Deceiver and Mischiever, whatever the fuck you want to do. Is if you're not trying to get better or up to par with The Exorcist 3, you're gonna fail. You know,
I agree. I agree on 100%.
this is the movie that you need to take notes on, man.
If you want a cold dose of exactly what this is,
Yep.
okay. I mean, if this is, the let me say, if this is the if this is what you want to see, if this interests you, stop going to movie to spend your money on a whole lot of different things. All right, I'm serious. Like, I'm serious because I'm serious. You'll get it all from Exorcist 3. I mean, if that's your thing.
Yep.
And as far as The Omen, the very first Omen is the shit. And then, let's see.
That's OG's favorite movie, by the way. He's going to keep mentioning that fucking movie.
and then hold on. And then, The Omen 2 is okay, kind of weak, but it kind of it's important.
Oh, The Omen 2. The Omen 2 is weak.
Well, it all depends what you. Omen 2 is okay. I will say that after The Omen 2, forget about it. Now the remake, now the remake. Hold on, man. Now the remake.
Wait, you gonna say forget about it? First of all, Sam Neill is in part 3. You say fuck Sam Neill, Mr. Jurassic Park? What happened?
Yeah. It's okay.
He said it's okay.
All right, but then they did a remake with Liv Schreiber and what's her name?
Julia Stiles.
Julia Stiles.
Yeah,
yes.
man. The Omen remake has
I
one of.
I did like the remake.
The Omen remake has one of the best decapitation sequences I have ever seen in my life. That scene,
when that thing swung down and
oh my god, where that hammer drops down and drops that shit and swings that shit on that dude's head, and his headless body falls down the steps. That is one of the best decapitations I have ever seen in my entire life.
All right, so you're talking to your horror fan scenes right now.
Yeah.
So what I'm talking to, good cinema, man. I'm talking about good cinema.
Okay.
So like, there's a couple movies I put out there to Jerome to watch.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, like, they old school John, but keep your eyes open, keep your mind open, right? And then if you want to, explore other things like, okay, what the fuck? What I tell you to watch, man? What I tell you?
You told me to watch The Eyes of Laura Mars. And you told me to watch The Untouchables, and you told me to watch, it was something else. God damn, I can't remember. We'll get there.
Soylent Green.
Soylent Green, god damn. Hold on. Where the fuck is my list at? You told me to watch. You told me to watch 70s, Raging Bull.
Raging Bull.
Taxi Driver.
That's Taxi Driver. That's all Scorsese.
Yep. Yeah. There's a lot that you told me to watch.
Yeah.
There's a lot, people. There's a lot that he told me to watch, people. This is one of the reasons why I called this man Miyagi Sensei, because this is the only motherfucker in history of cinema that can be like, yo, you need to do some homework. And I'm like, all right, man, I'll watch this movie. I'll watch it. Fuck it. Like, this is the only time that this works. people, and I really hope y'all enjoyed this, man. Now, we did talk about The Exorcist 3. Now, granted, we did talk about a lot of other things, so like I said, it's only a matter of what I titled this episode, but I feel like I feel fulfilled, man. OG, like, if I can just do like a quick little outro for you real quick.
Oh,
Um no,
okay.
no, man. No, let me just say that I you already know where we stand, like outside of the show. Like outside of the show, you already know, man. We talk regularly. Like whether it might not be every day, like you said, it might be every couple of days or whatever the case may be. We still talk regularly, and we've been talking about doing this for a long time. And the fact that you actually took the time out to do this shit, man. This means a lot to me. It does. And I know that you were like, yeah, man, well, let me get ready and let me get da da da. And then I remember you were telling me like, yo, man, you ain't gotta worry about all that. Cause I was nervous, people. I really was nervous, people. I was like, yo, I don't know what music to put on for you. Do I put on the Star Trek music? Do I put on the Young and the Restless? Like we were going through all types of theme songs. Well, I was going through all types of theme songs. But like the fact that we actually got this done finally and it's over the phone and not even in person, man, that shit means a lot. So I definitely appreciate you being on here, and I know there's going to be a lot of my listeners that appreciate your movie prowess, your movie savviness, everything that you've brought to the episode, and everything that you've said, and everything that you've appreciated, and probably everything that you've disagreed with. You know, there's a lot of people that's like, yo, man, I respect the fact that you disagree with this, and I'd be kind of confused, but you're gonna catch a whole different type of wave right now
Let
because
me,
every
well, thank you so
go
much.
ahead,
I
go
appreciate
ahead, go
that.
ahead, go ahead.
I just want to say,
Mm-hmm.
listen, I know we kind of maybe have gone off script, okay, and we could, we could.
I
Right now,
always do.
right
I
now I'm looking at
always
my
do, man.
TV. Right now I'm looking at TV. It's like almost at the end. You know,
Ah!
but I mean, honestly, I mean, for folks out there that would really appreciate a good movie, you want to check out Exorcist III. It is what it is. Like, either you get it or you don't. Either you get it. I mean, the imagery, the camera angles, all that. Like, it's like either you get it or you don't. But I believe, in my opinion, that it's just a really good movie.
Amazing movie.
That Usual Suspects, the movie Seven, Fight Club,
Woo! Yo,
all those
seven.
movies.
OG, you remember the time we tried to do seven?
Yes.
Now people, we tried to do seven. We tried to do seven. Shout out to my homegirl Miss Swag, because Miss Swag, I'm not gonna bullshit and not shout her out, because she was one of the first motherfuckers that ever jumped on the Tudor Reviews podcast with me when I started, and she was living all the way in Florida, and I chimed her in on speakerphone. We talked about like horror movies and all this other shit. But Miss Swag, damn, I might hit her up later and tell her we need to do a reunion episode. But shout out to her. But yeah, man, like yo, I've had people on here, man, but this was a little bit different. This was natural. Even though I gave you an intro and music and all of that type of shit, like I tried to, like, this is shit that we talk about every day, OG. Like, you done already told these people we just talked about this before the episode when I called you and you was like, yo, man, I called you literally. People, I literally called this man and was like, yo, man, what you doing today? I feel like doing an episode on Exorcist 3. He was like, yo, man, I literally just watched it this morning. That's how fate plays, man. That's how fate aligns things, man. And I feel like you guys got, maybe you guys didn't get the complete Exorcist 3 episode that y'all were looking for, but I feel like y'all definitely got a lot of Exorcist 3 talk along with
It's called Exorcist the Legion. Okay?
Exorcist the Wait, what are we calling it?
The Legion.
Exorcist the Legion?
Exorcist 3 the Legion. Yes,
but what else? We got to call it something else because we've been talking about a lot of different shit, man. We've been talking about everything.
I know, I know. Well, listen, guys. Like I said, my favorite movies. I mean, Usual Suspects, Seven, Fight Club. Those are some of my favorites.
He's like all David Fincher movies.
I like David Fincher. He's another one of my favorite directors. So
No, that's cool. That's cool. But like Fight Club, I don't know. I never really understood it. Never really got into it. But
well,
I do owe a lot to Fight Club because not Camille but Corinne. I remember I was watching Fight Club and Corinne saw that bar of soap on the DVD front cover. I think you let me borrow it. And Corinne, soap was one of her first words. Little fun fact. Yeah.
what was it?
Soap was one of Corinne, not Camille, but one of Corinne's first words. Soap because we had the Fight Club DVD sitting on the bed and Corinne was just grabbing it and she said soap. Yep, she saw that. Yeah,
Okay.
fun fact for the people, for the reviewers, the listeners, the lovers, supporters out there, man. Yo, listen, man. But y'all see how all of these stories are tied to family values, man.
I'll say this about my grandkids.
Uh huh.
And my son Christopher. I'm just getting him into certain movies.
Well, Chris is next, man. I'm gonna get Chris next on the show, people. Like, there's no reason why.
My grandson, Chris.
Yeah, man. You talking about Lil Chris?
Little Chris.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was about to say Chris. Like, I was about to say people, not OG's grandson, but his son, who I grew up with. I was about to say he's next on my list because ain't no way I got the dad on my podcast first before I got one of my fucking best friends on this. Like, come on, man. And I know this ain't they type of thing, but it wasn't OG's type of thing. But here he is, man, and he gave me easily one of the best fucking episodes that I've ever done. So, OG, I'm just going, like, before we close out, I'm just going to give you your...
I appreciate that.
Nah, man. Nah, you already know how we get down. I'm going to give you your props and tell you, I appreciate this, man. Like, you did not have to do this today. And you didn't have to... You could have easily been like, look, man, I'm going to just enjoy my day off and I don't want nothing to do with this shit. But no, you were like, yo, listen, let me know when. And I said, all right, let's give each other a half hour or hour grace period. And then we actually warmed up before we recorded. We pre-gamed before we recorded and we got it done, man. Like I said, the only thing is that's troubling me is the title of what I'm going to call this. But the fact that OG...
I told you what to call it.
Wait, what are we calling it?
Hold on. Listen. You had the Exorcist music on first.
Uh-huh.
So call it the Exorcist III podcast. All right? And it is where it goes. So don't make it any more than it should be. I don't want,
I'm about to just call it the Exorcist 3 and some other shit.
There you go. Exorcist 3 and some other shit. There you go. That was good.
But no, OG, it's been an like, I'm not even gonna say it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor, man. Like for my listeners to finally get a chance to, and I'm pretty sure I've mentioned you a couple times, but for my listeners to finally get a chance to hear you and hear your movie prowess and hear how you like lay movies out and how you judge movies and so on and so forth, and how many directors you like and how many actors you like or dislike for that matter. Like, that shit means a lot, man. And it's a very epic moment for me, especially in October where we're doing our spooky season edition commentaries and episodes, man. This is everything right now. So I appreciate you for that.
Listen, I hope to join you again. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah, for what episode? Let me know. Let me know, man.
All right, man. So what I gotta do? Go into my spooky closet here and find out some spooky movies.
Not even that. Just listen. We were just talking about the movies that scared the shit out of us. So let's go with that. Let's go with that. Let's do a
Yeah,
full
well,
blown
I'm gonna try to find an omen or two. Okay.
Oh my god! You want to do commentary for the Omen, man?
Yeah, I do.
All right, cause I didn't even have it on my list, but I'll do it for you. The original with Gregory Peck.
Omen. Yeah, the original Omen. Yes.
All right, not the sequels, but the
And
original.
I swear to God, man, I watched Rosemary's Baby. Okay.
They got a remake. They got a prequel to that that's out right now.
I didn't know that. I'm talking about the original.
Okay.
It's long and it's boring as fuck. But at the end of the day, I mean, if you watch it, and I mean, I felt so sorry for this girl. I felt so sorry for her. Because it's like when she was hooked up in there was nothing she could do. And it was, it was a deep movie, man. But that was like shit, man. That was like early 70s, man.
Yep.
Early
It was.
70s, so anyway. But hey, folks, listen, man. Listen, it's nice, nice being heard. Nice being heard. Me and Roman talking, but it's nice being heard. And I hope I didn't disappoint. Okay.
Nah, he didn't disappoint people. He didn't. He didn't disappoint people, but people, if y'all don't know, y'all should know at this point, man. Y'all can follow the podcast on Spotify and wherever else you get your podcasts from. Shout out to Spotify for podcasters. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, Romero Tutor. Shout out to the Facebook movie group, the Cinemaniacs. And last, but certainly not least, shout out to the Tutor reviewers, the listeners, the lovers, the supporters out there. It was a joy and an epic event having OG on this episode, man. Y'all send it in. Send me the comments. Send me the emails. Do y'all want OG on more episodes? Y'all decide. I will let y'all decide, man. But other than that, this October, we're going to still be getting into the spooky season commentary. We're going to be doing... I can't even tell y'all what we're going to be doing, man, because I don't want to ruin it and speak too much into existence, man. But we're definitely going to be doing horror-themed commentaries, man. Horror-themed, well, I can't say horror-themed trailers, because I don't know what the fuck trailers are coming, people. But y'all already know the love and support y'all show me, I show it back to y'all tenfold and then some. So with that being said, people, yours truly, Romero Tutor. Another episode of Tutor Reviews in the can. I'll check y'all on the next one.